Okay, this video is about absolute value equations. And on here, we want to be able to solve them. So everything's got an equal sign in it. And I think by now, most of you know that absolute value, when you take the absolute value of a number, it's always positive. And that's because you're measuring the distance from zero. And distance cannot be negative. Now, you can go different directions from zero. You go to the left, you can go to the right, but you can't have a negative distance. So if we look at number 1, and it asks for the absolute value of x equals 10, since we have the absolute value isolated by itself, and then the number on the other side, now we can rewrite it into two equations, and we can say that x equals positive 10 and x equals negative 10. And because there's nothing more to solve, that's our answer. Okay, let's look at number 2. On number 2, we've got the absolute value isolated. It says it's 9 units from the center. So that means we can write our two equations. So so 3x can be 9 units to the right, which is positive 9, or 3x can be 9 units to the left, which is negative 9. So to solve, we'll divide both of these by 3. So we get x equals positive 3 and negative 3. All right, let's take a look what happens on number 3. Now on number 3, it says the absolute value of 2x is negative 12. But remember, distance can't be negative. You can't go negative miles. You can't throw a football negative feet. Okay, everything has to be positive. So because it's equal to a negative, this is no solution. But we cannot say it is no solution until you have the absolute value by itself equal to a negative number. All right, let's try number 4. So number 4, we've got just the absolute value on the left, and then we've got a positive number on the right. So now we can rewrite it as our two equations. So we can say 2x minus 7 is 15 spaces to the right of 0, which is positive 15, or it's 15, oh, oops, saying the wrong thing. Or 2x minus 7 is 15 spaces to the left of 0, which would be negative 15. So over here, I'm going to add 7. So I get 2x is 22, so x is 11. Over here, I'm going to add 7. So I get 2x equals negative 8. So x is negative 4. All right. On number 5, we have the absolute value, but there's more over there besides the absolute value. There's that negative 7, and we cannot split it into our two equations until we've got the absolute value by itself. So to do that, we're going to have to add 7 to both sides. So I get the absolute value of x plus 3 equals 11. Now I can write it into my two equations. So I've got x plus 3 equals positive 11, and x plus 3 equals negative 11. So I'll subtract 3 on both of them. Over here, I get x is 8. Over here, I subtract 3 and get x is negative 14. Okay. Number 6, we got the exact same thing. We just got to get the absolute value by itself. But some people are getting confused on whether they need to divide by 2 or subtract 3 first. So I'll give you two different things to think about. And you don't need to write this down just yet. But if I had the equation 2x plus 3 equals 19, you'd tell me you'd subtract 3 first, right? And that's exactly what we need to do over here. Because if you didn't subtract 3 first and you divided by 2, then you'd have to divide all of these by 2 and then subtract the fraction, which works, but man, it's a lot easier to subtract the 3 first. Okay, so let's do that. Let's subtract the 3 first. So we get 2 times the absolute value of x minus 5 equals 16. Then we divide by 2, so the absolute value of x minus 5, that's terrible 5, try this again, equals 8. Now at this point, we can write our two equations. So x minus 5 equals positive 8, and x minus 5 equals negative 8. So over here, we're going to add 5, and we'll get x is 13. And over here, we're going to add 5, and we'll get x is negative 3. All right, let's try this again on number 7. So just like on number 6, we want to do the addition and subtraction first. So I'm going to add 11 to both sides. So I get 3 times the absolute value of 2x minus 9 equals 9. divide by 3. So the absolute value of 2x minus 9 equals 3. Now that the absolute value is by itself, now I can rewrite it into two equations. So one is 2x minus 9 equals positive 3, and the other is 2x minus 9 equals negative 3. Here I'm going to add 9. So I get 2x equals 12, so x is 6. Here I'm going to add 9 again, but this time I get 2x equals 6, so x is 3. All right, last one. Okay, we know by now we're going to subtract 14 from both sides. So I get 2 times the absolute value of 3x plus 4 equals negative 6. Divide by 2, so the absolute value of 3x plus 4 equals negative 8. So now that I've got the absolute value by itself, now I can write it to two equations. But remember, distance cannot be negative. And so when I take the absolute value of something, I cannot get a negative number. So once I've got the absolute value by itself, and there happens to be a negative number on the other side, then this is no solution.